Coming up on Carolina News Now, an 11-foot gator terrorizes a family on the North Carolina coast.
We love animals, but that was a dinosaur. Really, that was a dinosaur.
Wildlife officials say it's not the first why they're seeing a spike in calls for unwelcome guests. Plus, perfect attendance? Not quite. We investigate how many lawmakers in South Carolina are skipping work and the reasons they're staying home. And this.
We have the talent, and that's one thing, but it's not all of the things.
The Carolina Panthers are officially in Spartanburg for training camp. We break down the battle for QB and what the players brought to make Wofford College feel like home. Hi there and welcome to Carolina News Now. I'm Maddie Gardner. So glad that you are joining us. We have a lot on tap. As you can see, we are going to be taking a deeper dive into sports, what the home team, the Carolina Panthers, are up to at training camp. We're going to be talking more about that 11-foot alligator that you just saw. Quite terrifying. We'll tell you all about it and show you some more images. We're also going to get a check of your weekend weather forecast. If you're going out of town or you're staying right at home, you'll hear what's going on in your area in the Carolinas. But we start with this in Rowan County, North Carolina. Right now, North Carolina is on pace to have one of the deadliest years for overdoses. So far, there has been an 8% increase this year than at the same time last year in overdose deaths. Now there is a special team in Rowan County that is near the Charlotte area. It's working to prevent people from dying from an overdose. And David Wisnett followed along. He did a ride along of sorts to see how this team is helping people out in their community.
We're at an all-time high of people that are experiencing overdose.
The team goes to places where overdoses happen frequently.
This right here usually is burn up the traffic.
Parking lots and parks.
My coping skill was drugs and alcohol.
Ashley Creek should know. A former drug user, she's now a certified peer support specialist trying to save lives. The team passes out bags with water, hygiene kits, and the overdose reversing drug Narcan.
If you need any more, call that number right there and we'll get you some more.
This woman did not want to be identified but said this work is needed.
Drug is an addiction because I struggle with it every day, especially if you're homeless. You know what I'm saying? You can't get no help and stuff.
I think they get down and out and turn to alcohol or drugs to cope with, what they're going through. It's hard out here.
Today at a local park, there was something else going on. A young homeless woman appeared to be in distress. Drugs? Maybe something else. Creek and paramedic Kelly Potts had to convince the woman she needed help.
So we've called an ambulance and then she'll be taken to the hospital here in just a little bit as soon as they arrive.
The team sat with her, encouraging her to drink water. Minutes later, the ambulance arrived and they helped her inside.
She wasn't acting right then. And then today she's even worse than what she was on Saturday.
Oh, God.
Ashley's passion for getting people off drugs drives her. The number of people overdosing and dying is alarming, she says, and she says it doesn't help when many say that overdose victims are just suffering the consequences of their own poor decisions.
People's mothers are dying, people's fathers are dying, people's cousins, people's aunts, people's uncles, people's children are dying because of this. If it was your child, what would you be doing?
That last bite there, if it was your child, what would you be doing? So glad to see this team is going out and meeting people where they are at and offering that care and support. Here in North Carolina, if you are struggling with substance abuse, you want to know more about the resources available to you, you can text the Hope for NC hotline. It is absolutely free. The number is 855-587-3463, 855-587-3463. 3463. Thank you, David, for bringing us that important story. All right, we're moving into the coastal area of North Carolina. Imagine going out in your backyard, your front yard, and seeing this. Yep. That's all you need to say right there to show the image. Neighbors reached out after this 11-foot alligator got a little too close for comfort. We're going now to Ann McAdams, who has more on the terrifying encounters.
That gator was hanging out behind a car in a woman's driveway last week. She was nervous for her pets and her family members to go outside and wanted help getting rid of the gator.
He was so huge, we thought it was fake. And my daughter was scared to pass him.
Carol Woolery has lived in her Brunswick County home for 4 years. She's seen a lot of wildlife, but nothing like this.
When she drove past the alligator a couple of feet at a blink of an eye, the alligator spun around so fast and opened his mouth up, it was like a movie, like Lake Placid.
The gator was first spotted in Tara Lax's front yard, then took up residence in the Woolery's pond next door. After warning Lax to be careful, Woolery called wildlife and the police, worried for the safety of her family and her pets.
If we walked past there and he jumped out, we didn't stand a chance with this.
When wildlife arrived the next day, neighbors were surprised officers did not remove the gator, saying alligators were a protected species, and if they'd wait a few days, he'd probably move on.
When you keep being told there's nothing we can do, we just want to leave him alone and we don't want to stress the alligator out. I mean, that I understand that. I absolutely understand not wanting to stress a gator out. But at the same time, they're not taking into consideration the fact that we're stressed out just trying to walk out to our vehicles, having our children come back and forth up and down the road.
With a little prodding, officers did agree to give the neighbors a permit so they could pay a private wildlife removal service to relocate the gator. It cost them $600, but residents say it was money well spent.
They would have been a snack for him. We have 5 cats out here. We have a bird that we rescued. We love animals, but that was a dinosaur. Really, that was a dinosaur.
Wildlife officers do remove nuisance gators here on a regular basis. Master Officer Clayton Ludwig recently removed 3 gators in a single day. He says as more people move to this area, sharing the habitat gators once had to themselves, there are more close encounters.
And it's surprising for people if they're trying to leave their house or their Ring doorbell camera goes off and there's an alligator in front of it. They're generally not used to that. Nobody really is.
This is video of Officer Ludwig removing a gator from a Wilmington bridge in May. Officers will typically remove alligators impeding traffic or when a gator is keeping someone from being able to leave their house. Otherwise, they'll generally tell you to leave it alone or refer you to a private removal service. You should always keep pets on a leash and small children close by when you are in an area where there may be alligators, and never feed a gator as it makes them associate people with food. For Carolina News Now, I'm WECT's Ann McAdams.
I'll tell you what, here on Carolina News Now, I've covered more alligator and crocodile stories than any other time in my career. Ann McAdams, thank you so much for that report. What a scary sight that would be. We're going to move south to South Carolina now. You know, South Carolina lawmakers, they are part-time employees for the state, but they hold great power, especially for their constituents. However, not everyone shows up to work all the time. Blair Sable tells us what lawmakers were the most absent for this past season.
In South Carolina, there are a limited number of days where our lawmakers meet, but missing any one of those days, the consequences are slim to none. And when those legislators miss a day of work, not only are they missing their daily pay, but their daily opportunity to represent their constituents, the job they were elected to do.
You know, there are some who are periodically not there.
Live 5 Investigates went through the painstaking process to find out who was and who wasn't showing up to work. First, in the House, the team analyzed daily House journals, which are available online, checking who was and wasn't there for roll call. We found statewide of the 10 most absent, the top 2 are from the Charleston metro area. Representative Chris Murphy of Dorchester County was absent the most, missing all or partially 32 of 46 total sessions, with all excused absences, meaning he checked in with the House clerk that he would not be attending. In February, Murphy appeared to have a medical episode and was hospitalized, though we did not hear back from the representative for this story. Joseph Jefferson Jr. of Pineville, north of Lake Moultrie, also had 18 excused absences. Jefferson tells us that he had a car accident in January that left him bedridden, and he says in the 17 years prior, he's only missed 1 day. Another Low Country legislator who made the list, William Cogswell Jr., was not present for 8 sessions. Representative Justin Bamberg also missed 8 sessions as well, and a majority were not excused. Some representatives we were able to get in contact with said their reasons to miss included other official business, like Representative Nathan Ballantyne, who wrote in an email his paying job is a very hectic one. Others cited health issues, like Representative Stephen Moss, who missed 10 days due to a new diagnosis of lung cancer. He says it's why he's not running again. In addition to other reasons, Representative Bamberg said he did miss one day due to a, quote, 1999 style hangover. More than half on this list did not respond to our requests for comment. Meanwhile, 40 House members got perfect attendance for regular session, including Representative Joe Bustos of Mount Pleasant.
Well, to me, it's an obligation. It's not just an office I hold. I was elected to be in the State House for a reason, to represent the people of District 112, and I can't do that if I'm not there.
House Clerk Charles Reed says there is no limit to how many days a representative can be excused, and there's no difference if they are excused or not, they still don't get paid. In the Senate, journals do not reflect a daily roll call, meaning it was difficult to find where attendance records are readily available for public viewing, but we did obtain a copy of the records from the Senate clerk. Most senators showed up this past session 90% or more of the time. But Senator Margie Matthews of Walterboro missed 19 of 57 days recorded, the most of any other senator, and we did not hear back from her. Senator Marlon Kimpson of Charleston missed 15 days. He says it was due to COVID-19 and juggling his second job as an attorney. Now, he expects the illness to impact next year's attendance as well. For Live 5 Investigates, I'm Blair Sable.
Once again, that was Blair Sable. Thank you so much for that important investigation. We're going to head to eastern North Carolina now. The family of a 17-year-old shot and killed in an eastern North Carolina city is speaking for the first time. The family members of Isaiah Taylor says he was shot not too far away from his grandmother's home. They told us he was a man of God and he had a bright future ahead of him. Justin Lundy reports.
I can say I am proud of that young man, even if he wasn't mine, and I had something to do in his life. He's a wonderful young man. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better child.
The young man Brenda Simmons is reminiscing of is 17-year-old Isaiah Taylor. Early Monday morning, Taylor was shot and killed on Hyman Avenue in Kinston, only a block away from his grandmother's house. On Tuesday, I sat down with his family, who describes him as a straight A rising junior at Kinston High School, a hard worker and a man of God.
I mean, he was in his prime. He was beginning to be a man, 17 years old. He was born on Father's Day.
Taylor was also the father of a 3-year-old boy who leaves behind his own dad, who thought the world of him.
He did a whole 360 because he was hard-headed coming up. Last couple of years, about 2-3 years, and he changed a lot, a whole lot. Like, I was proud of his daddy. Like, he made me proud.
Monday evening, Kinston police charged Irvin Waters Jr. with the murder of Taylor and an attempted first-degree murder on Adkins Street that left bullet holes in a car. Samuel Roberts was also charged with aiding and abetting in both shootings. Simmons says the family didn't know these men and Taylor stayed out of trouble. She hopes other young men follow suit.
Make something out of yourself. Do what he did. Follow his direction. He was going in a good direction.
As the family continues to grieve Taylor's passing, because he was a man of faith, they know and believe he's in a better place.
I know in my heart that he's with the Lord, because for one, he was one of the good guys, one of the good soldiers, one of the good boys.
Justin, thank you for that report. We have much more coming up on Carolina News Now. We will hope you will stick around. Here is a look. The Carolina Panthers started training camp down in Spartanburg at Wofford College. Nate Wimberly was there. He caught them coming out of their cars, moving into the dorms. What they brought with them, which is actually pretty interesting. We'll tell you what Panther went to Target and got candles for training camp. It's interesting. We'll also show you what they're doing on the practice field. And Mustang Week for a final time in Myrtle Beach, how they're taking over the Grand Strand and the world record attempt that they shot at today. You'll check it out. We'll tell you if they made it or not. And then a check of the weekend forecast. Rachel Coulter will be joining us to tell us what we can expect no matter where we are in the Carolinas. We will be right back in just 45 seconds. Welcome back to Carolina News Now. I'm Maddie Gardner. Glad you are with us. If you're just joining, we are covering the top stories from both North and South Carolina as we close out the week, heading into the weekend. To tell you what you might have missed, of course, we will also have a check of your regional weather forecast. It is all coming up here soon. Here in the Carolinas, our team, the Panthers, they are at training camp this week. Football is officially back. A lot of us have been waiting for this moment to happen, but they moved into dorms at Wofford College yesterday. Nate Wimberly was there. He's telling us what they packed and how they performed on the field.
Lots of smiles today because
it's like summer's over and it's the first day of school. Yeah.
Panthers training camp, 2 weeks away from home and family. But that doesn't mean they can't bring a piece of home to Spartanburg.
One thing very special this year that I bought is, and me and my daughter got these 2 heart pillows, so I bought her heart pillow and left mine at home, so because she can't be here.
Pillows, blankets, TVs, of course, but also
I brought some candles.
Candles?
I just kind of smelled them yesterday in Target. They smell good. So.
One guy who came ready for training camp is 6-year veteran Christian McCaffrey.
You know, I bring the rug, make sure you step on a comfortable rug in the morning. Definitely a bougie room. I'd say probably the bougiest room on the team.
He's got all the candles, he's got, as many blankets as you could ever dream of. Being here for a couple weeks, I figured, maybe one candle will be good. I might go to Target and get a candle. That's a good idea.
So if you're keeping score, candles are in, and the Panthers are going to keep Target in business the next couple of weeks. But this isn't a getaway vacation, it's training camp. And for some reason, this one feels different.
We have the talent, and that's one thing, but it's not all of the things. And I think our team knows that. We can win games, but it's about executing. It's about showing up every day, working as hard as humanly possible, having a good attitude, having good energy.
Yes, football is back. In Spartanburg, Nate Wimberly, WBTV Sports 3 on your side.
Yeah, if you would have asked me what Christian McCaffrey stocked his dorm room for training camp with, it wouldn't be a cozy rug. It would be, I guess, like protein powder, a lot of water. I don't know. We are not going to let Nate go just yet to tell us more about training camp. He joined anchor Jamie Bowl, and here is their conversation about what's going on the practice field.
Nate, it's hot. Let's get you out of that sunshine as quickly as we can. Let's jump right into it. First impression of these two quarterbacks today.
Hey, it was an up and down day, kind of what you expected on day one. Sam ran with the first team today. Baker ran with the second unit, and tomorrow the roles will be reversed. Baker will run with the first team, and Sam will run with the second team. Now, Sam had some great throws today. He had some drops from the receivers, but he almost threw another interception in the end zone, in the red zone period, but it was dropped. But, all in all, Sam had a good day. Baker, really up and down today. Overthrew some wide receivers on the deep ball, and he had a few dropped by the second unit. So it's going to take some time to filter this thing out. Just like, the last couple of days, Coach Matt Rule said, hey, I'm not going to pick the starting quarterback. The play will decide who this starting quarterback is. And I think this was just day one of a 2 to 3 week period where they'll ballot it out and decide this thing.
But I do wonder about that, Nate, right? Practices aren't as long as they used to be. They don't practice as often, as they used to. So reps are sort of limited. Is there some pressure, though, to try to sort this out as quickly as they can?
I think you do have a little bit of pressure in the practice for the players to be perfect, hopefully not get down when guys drop a ball. But when you put it on the money and a guy drops it, it starts to get into your head, and then you press a little bit because you know which drop, which throw is the one that's going to either get you the job or lose you the job. So I do believe that, you know, it adds a little bit more pressure because, you know, just like Coach said today, during the practice time after the stretching, they only had like 60 to 70 minutes. That's not a lot when you got 4 quarterbacks and 2 battling for the position. So I think really practice and those preseason games, all 3 preseason games, all 3 are going to be huge for these quarterbacks.
So much attention obviously on this quarterback battle. What other position battles are you kind of watching this training camp?
You know, the offensive line, you know, who's going to be, we all kind of penciled in Ike Ekwonu as the starting left tackle, but will it be Brady Christensen? Will Christensen slide to left guard, or will Ike go to left guard? So that deciding between those two, which will start at either one of those positions, I think is very interesting to watch. You know, so that's the one I'm really watching is that left tackle, left guard. I do believe one of those two will start. They both will start. It's just where will they slot on that line. So I think that's one that needs to be paid attention to.
A really cool day, a lot of normalcy back in training camp, signing autographs and the such. Nate, I know it's been a hot day. I appreciate you taking a couple extra minutes to talk to us.
That's a good point. Autographs are back. It's fun. I'm excited for football. Hope you are as well. We are going to stay in South Carolina for this final story here. Engines are revving for a final time in Myrtle Beach. Mustang Week is underway, and it's not going to be coming back to the Grand Strand. It's happened every year in Myrtle Beach since 2001. Every week would be a lot of Mustangs at Myrtle Beach. Every year since 2001. To celebrate the finale, they tried to break a world record, the largest parade of Mustangs. So let's see how it went for them.
There were 300 Mustangs short to break the Guinness World Record, but Mustang Week did break a U.S. record. 960 is the number Mustang Week was trying to beat. That record was set in Mexico in 2017. Folks from Guinness were prepared to see the record broken as cameras, drones, and a tally counter were all in place. But the parade this morning only had 660 Mustangs. That was enough, though, to beat the U.S. record, as 660 Mustang in a parade is now the biggest parade in the country. Since Mustang Week will not come back to Myrtle Beach next year, this was the last time trying to beat the world record.
For this being the last Mustang Week and for all the love and support that I've personally received from this same family, it's almost more than I can speak to. It's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic event. So gonna miss it from here on out.
As you just heard, participants love this event each year, and while it's about to go away and they can no longer do a world record, they're excited that they broke the U.S. record. In Myrtle Beach, Natasha Liger, WBTV News.
Yeah, so not quite enough Mustangs in Myrtle Beach to break the world record. The U.S. record was set. Meteorologist Rachel Coulter joining me now. It feels like we're breaking heat records in the Carolinas. It's been so hot
and
this week.
Eastern North Carolina and South Carolina have had the heat alerts as well, which is not something that we've had, but it feels like we should. You know, we're so close to that criteria for sure.
It's hot. It's hot.
And it's going to be hot tomorrow as well. I want to start with temperatures because, you know, tomorrow's still going to be pretty steamy, mid 80s to low 80s in the mountain communities. But then watch what happens. So here's the good news of the weekend forecast. 70s for Boone, Saturday, Sunday afternoon, low 80s for Asheville. If you're going to be across the Piedmont, we're going to go from the mid to upper 90s where we were today to the upper 80s, especially out towards Charlotte. Low to mid 80s possible in Raleigh, low 90s for Columbia, and even for those that are going to be headed out towards the beaches, we're going to be looking at anywhere from the 80s for the Outer Banks, upper 80s on Sunday afternoon for the coast out towards Wilmington, and then Charleston, low 90s each and every afternoon. The trade-off is going to be the rain chances. So coverage-wise, pretty similar for your Friday as to what we've had here the past couple of days across North and South Carolina. I'll show you what I mean here. That's 5 o'clock on Friday. Not too bad. Scattered showers and storms. Some of those could be strong. Some of them could produce localized flash flooding concerns. But it's going to be into the weekend. We've been talking about, and I know if you've been tuning in with your local meteorologist, that front that's been stalled off to our north all week long. Well, we're eventually going to see the cold front sink south, hang out with us on Saturday, lift back northward as a warm front on Sunday. Here's what that means for your rain chances. Morning hours looking okay, but watch what happens by the afternoon and evening. Starting to see those showers and storms develop. It's not going to be washout, rain all day type thing if you have outdoor plans, but plan on this where you could see those clusters of storms start to pick up in coverage and intensity, producing some really heavy downpours. Excessive rainfall is certainly a possibility, a low end threat altogether, but there nonetheless. Certainly some gusty, damaging wind gusts, some isolated damaging wind gusts going to be a possibility as well. So that would be Saturday afternoon and evening. Should dry out for the most part into Sunday morning, although some data is showing that eastern portions of North Carolina could see some showers and storms to start off the weekend. But altogether, by the time we get towards Sunday afternoon, Maddie, it's going to be a similar setup with more showers and storms on the way.
All right, Rachel, you know, we always say here at the end of Carolina News Now, oh, I wish I was going to the beach this weekend. I actually am going to the beach this weekend.
Nice.
So hopefully I can dodge those showers. It's
Yeah,
been
hopefully
all
you
summer. It's been building up to this. So if it rains the whole time, I'm going to be quite disappointed. But
So
Wilmington folks, I'll see you this weekend. Thank you for
No
joining
problem.
and giving us the regional weather forecast. And thank you guys for watching Carolina News Now. We are here every weekend or before the weekend starts to get you caught up on the news from both North and South Carolina. And Rachel is here with that wonderful regional weather forecast. So have a lovely evening and a safe weekend. Take care.